Do you believe in aliens?
I'm absolutely convinced. That's all there is to it.
Do you also believe that UFOs have come to Earth?
There has been and is an existing presence, an ET presence.
The evidence is overwhelming that planet Earth is being visited by intelligently controlled extraterrestrial spacecraft.
UFOs are as real as the airplanes flying overhead. That gave me the dubious distinction of being the first person of cabinet rank in the G8 group of countries to say so unequivocally.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now simply undeniable that this UFO phenomenon is real. We are not alone in this universe, and within our lifetimes, within the next few years, humanity is going to come to the recognition that we are part of a much, much bigger picture. Scientists now estimate that in our Milky Way galaxy alone, there may be as many as 40 billion Earth-like planets capable of sustaining life in our galaxy alone, and there are billions of galaxies in the universe. Scientists also estimate that for every grain of sand on Earth, there is an Earth-like planet somewhere in the universe. If you look at the diversity of plants and animals on Earth, and now project that outwards into the infinite cosmos, it is simply ridiculous to think that we are alone in this universe, especially when we have barely explored our own planet, our own oceans, much less our own solar system. Now beyond that, there is a mountain of evidence from all throughout human history. Thousands and thousands of people, sane, rational, credible people, have reported sightings and encounters with UFO craft. Numerous mass sightings, such as the Phoenix Lights, the so-called Battle over LA, the infamous Roswell crash, and the more recent Chicago O'Hare incident.
November 7th, I think, 2006, at Chicago O'Hare Airport, 4:15 in the afternoon, gate C-25, I believe, the pilot of the plane waiting to depart to Charlotte looks up and there is a saucer hovering not that far over the plane. People in the tower see it, other pilots see it, dozens of people see it. It's real, and the FAA refuses to investigate. How could that be?
I know, it's shocking.
And not only that, but many of these sightings have been caught on camera with compelling pictures, images, and video footage. Thousands and thousands of sightings all throughout human history, not only from people like me and you, but also from within our governments as well. In the United States, the military, the Air Force, the Navy, the CIA, and other intelligence agencies have been interested in studying these phenomenon, this topic, for decades.
Over a period of 2 weeks, there were numerous instances in which unidentified aircraft were approaching the carrier battle group, descending from over 80,000 feet at supersonic speed, sometimes hovering, stopping at 20,000 feet, sometimes descending to 50 feet above the ocean.
It is a fraud for the government to pretend that it is not interested in UFOs. It has been a matter of high and probably preeminent interest for decades.
For example, Project Blue Book was a study conducted on the UFO phenomenon by the US Air Force in the 1950s. And just a few weeks ago, December 2017, the New York Times published a bombshell article detailing the Pentagon's top secret black budget UFO research program that was headed by this guy, Luis Elizondo.
My personal belief is that there is very compelling evidence that we may not be alone. It's not just the eyewitness testimony. It is actual electro-optical data and radar returns. It's also people like radar operators and air traffic controllers. So I think the discussion should be maybe a little bit broader than that. I think people are focusing just on 2 videos coming from a set of F-18s when really it's a lot more than that.
UFOs are real, and disclosure about this truth is coming out in our lifetimes, in 2018 and in the next few years. We are watching it unfold before our very eyes. Finally, we are starting to move beyond this ridicule factor in the scientific community and in the media and in society at large, where this topic is just immediately laughed off and dismissed as ridiculous. Finally, we are starting to grow up and take this seriously, as we need to. Remember that Galileo was once laughed at and ridiculed and persecuted for arguing that the Earth was not at the center of the universe. The truth is coming out and it cannot be stopped. Not only that UFO and ET visitation to Earth is real, but that the US government has had definitive proof of this for decades. And this information has been intentionally hidden and deliberately covered up for decades by the US government.
There have been ET visitation, there have been crashed craft, there have been material and bodies recovered, and there is some group of people somewhere that may or may not be associated with government at this point, but certainly were at one time, that have this knowledge.
For example, at the Roswell crash in 1947, reportedly, there were materials recovered and even bodies recovered at the crash site.
Most of the stuff at Roswell was extraordinarily lightweight, very thin foil-like material, very, very strong, but weighing next to nothing. That's from people who handled it.
Now, whether or not you believe that, the recent New York Times article also states that the US government was in possession of metal alloys recovered from UFO craft, and that these metal alloys are now in possession of this guy, Robert Bigelow, who is CEO of Bigelow Aerospace. And this is a sentiment that has been echoed by many people from within the government. Could it really be that the US government already has their hands on materials recovered from UFO craft?
The government is holding 9 alien spacecraft that are propelled by a modified gravity generator.
Either way, the fact remains that the US government, and probably other governments around the world, have been intentionally hiding and suppressing information about the fundamental nature of our reality, of this universe, of this existence, from us, the people they represent.
All divisions of the intelligence and military community, as well as corporate witnesses, contractors to the government. And these are folks who have been involved in so-called black budget or covert unacknowledged projects. These unacknowledged special access projects are taking in at least $40 to $80 billion per year. And they are sitting on technologies that can change the world forever.
According to some estimates, we cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
2.3 trillion with a T.
And that is not only bad, that is not only wrong, that is unconscionable. It is infuriating. How did we let this happen? And how can we prevent it from happening in the future?
The government's in a position where I think we have them in checkmate. If they are put in a position where they have to disclose that there is an extraterrestrial presence, we couldn't tell you before now, we're telling you today, I believe it will trigger the greatest age of institutional reform the world has ever seen. The age of reform, I think, is just on the other side of disclosure. We have to get through that door. That is how we get control back.
This story is about more than just UFOs and extraterrestrial craft. It's also about the power structure of our society, our government, our so-called democratic government elected by the people, for the people.
I've concluded that a study of the UFO cover-up inevitably forces us to rethink our ideas about the very structure of power in our world.
Either way, there is no one on Earth now who can stop the truth from coming out. The movement to end the truth embargo, the movement to release the secrets about UFO craft and ET visitation is here. It is now. It is happening before our very eyes. It will continue in 2018 and beyond, and it will bring humanity into a new era of life on Earth. Again, this is not just about UFOs and extraterrestrials. This is about massive shifts, a great awakening in humanity, with tremendous shifts in our society, in our government, in our religions and spirituality, in our technology, obviously, but also in our collective consciousness. UFO and ET disclosure represents a quantum leap in our collective evolution as a species. This is an expansion of our collective consciousness where together we are opening our minds to the vastness, the beauty, and the mysteries of this existence, and in doing so, progressively coming together in unity and harmony as one human family. There will come a day in the near future when humanity looks back to these pivotal years as the turning point in the story of humanity. And where people say, wow, can you believe that we really used to think that we were alone in this universe?
Fly by the comets, visit asteroids, visit the moon of Mars. There's a monolith there, a very unusual structure on this little potato-shaped object that goes around Mars once in 7 hours. When people find out about that, they're going to say, who put that there? Who put that there?
Friends, it is an amazing time to be alive. We are witnessing the birth of a new era on planet Earth. It might not be easy, it will come with birthing pains, it might be a bumpy ride, but it will be an incredible ride, and it will bring us to a new era of abundance and prosperity for all. And I am truly honored and grateful to be sharing this adventure with you. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe for more videos on the mysteries of existence. And join me as we venture down the rabbit hole and beyond into the great awakening of humanity.